In order for God to thoroughly furnish a man, he carries him through a school. That school is called the school of process. God is more interested in making you than in giving you. Whatever you are given, you can lose. But whatever you become, you can replicate again and again. And so even though God, on the strength of his fatherhood, is predisposed to continuously give to us, he is more interested in making us. The first martyrs that encountered Jesus never received from him. He said, follow me, I will make you fishers of men. The ones he make sustain the capacity to do what only him can do. But the ones to whom he gave, they came again and again and again to receive. In fact, Jesus multiplied bread and gave to people. And the next day they were looking for him. And Jesus himself testified. He said, you are not looking for me because you desire me. He said, you are looking for me because I gave you bread yesterday. So the man who comes to receive will always come again for more. But the man who becomes receives the capacity to replicate that which is given, because he becomes an extension of the dominion of God to a generation and to a territory. There were 7 classes in the school of process that every believer who will have capacity to advance God's kingdom must go through. There is no boycotting classes in this kingdom. No matter what a man attempts to do, if he fails any class in his manifestation, you can trace it if you have spiritual understanding. You can see a man raising the dead, and so much is happening. But when you look at that man, the lack of character in his manifestation will reveal to you that he has violated some classes in the school of process. And you can see a man with all the character required, but there will be a deficiency in power and in manifestation. Even though his character is correct, the deficiency of power is also a revelation that he violated certain classes in the school of process. So for a man to become a perfect and complete minister, there is a route he must follow. You know, the Bible said the scriptures were given to reprove, to correct, to instruct in righteousness, that the man of God may be complete, thoroughly furnished unto every good works. In order for God to thoroughly furnish a man, he carries him through a school. That school is called the school of process. And I said the first class everybody goes through in the school of process is the class of encounters. Samuel was dedicated to God. He lived all his life in the temple, but it doesn't mean he will amount to anything. Sleeping on the altar does not make you a servant of God. Encounters are the beginning of our journey with God. Even though Samuel, upon his winning, was brought to the temple, dropped at the altar. In fact, in 1 Samuel chapter 3, the Bible said, when the Ewe lamp were gone off, Daniel was still in the temple. But his stay in the temple did not change his story. What changed Samuel's story was the encounter he had with God. And in 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 4, the Bible said the voice of God came calling him, Samuel. And he said, here I am, Lord. In 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 21, the Bible said the Lord appeared again to Samuel in Shiloh. The Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of the Lord. And if you study 1 Samuel 3:20, it said Samuel was established as a prophet, and all of Israel could bear proof to it. What established Samuel as a prophet? It was the encounters that he had with God. So I say, when a man has an encounter, 3 things happen to him. Number 1, the specificities of his destiny are revealed to him. You cannot know the specifics of your destiny until an encounter reveals it to you. The reason is because you will find yourself in a territory and there are many teachers. And to make things worse, most of your teachers are invincible beings. You will not know who teaches you that it is good to have immorality. You will never hear anybody tell you that immorality is pleasurable. But there are invincible teachers that can manipulate your emotion. There are territorial teachers that the moment you enter a territory, they begin to alter the energy balance of your soul. And you can come to a place, all of a sudden you start feeling as if you want to do something you have never done before. The reason is because there are many teachers walking on the face of the earth. And those teachers will teach you many things that is not part of the blueprint of your destiny. And in order to go past the veil of darkness and receive instruction from the teacher who was in the studio of eternity when you were formed, you need an encounter. That's why I said to Jeremiah, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. I know your father is a priest, but captured in the lexicon of your destiny, priesthood was not a part of it. The ordination that I gave you from the studio of eternity is the ordination of a prophet. So even though priesthood is good, that is not your line. He took an encounter for his destiny to be reordered. And when he came back, he didn't come back as a priest after the order of Aaron. He came back as a prophet of God with the power to uproot and to plant. All of those dimensions were part of his destiny, but it took an encounter for him to see. The reason we compete with ourselves is because encounters are limited. Many times, people have encounters and they take off. And on the strength of those encounters, they go into the world. And even though they make little impact, they create a harvest for the devil. Because we will discover that they are not instructed in the ways of God. And the little manifestation they have is what the devil will use to bargain a chance in order to have a stake in that harvest. So after an encounter, there is an instruction. And after the class of instruction, God will take you to the class of service. It's in the class of service that your heart will be textured. Because you can come into a system, and even though you are the best singer, they will never bring you on the platform for 10 years. In the choir rehearsal, you are worshiping, people are falling down. But when they come for the main service, nobody ever gives you the microphone. If you think it's a show, you will get angry and go. Because what you are looking for is platform, not to bless the people of God. And when you leave, your destiny will be stunted. But when you have an encounter, when you are instructed, and when you give yourself to service, in the place of service, God will have the opportunity to check your heart. He will texture it and find out your true conviction. Because when all of us are on the altar, we claim that we are dead men. When all of us are on the altar, we claim it's all about Jesus. But when service begins, God will find out those who truly came for him. And that's why it's in the class of service that God gives reward. He says, I, the Lord, I test the heart. I try the reins to give unto every man as his way should be. A man who does not serve will never have an inheritance in this kingdom. Elisha served Elijah. Joshua served Moses. Everybody who makes genuine impact in a generation must have a record of who he served. Nobody appears. Everybody follow the process. And when you are done with the class of service, God will bring you to the class of self-denial. Because when you start serving, naturally, there are some benefits that we find expression. In order to save you and to make you go far, God will teach you self-denial. The purity of your service will only be verified in self-denial. A man who doesn't go through the class of self-denial, watch him. Not too long, he will bargain the weight of his destiny for money. He will bargain the weight of his destiny for pleasure. And you can see that man burning with fire. After 3 years, you will come. The same man will talk and you'll be sleeping. And you are wondering what happened. The sting that was in that message is not about the intelligence of the message. The sting that is in that message is a testimony of the weight of his consecration. And if he doesn't go through self-denial long enough, he can't preserve the weight of that consecration. The devil will bargain it. And when the devil bargains it, he will become a star and a caricature on the altar. But the weight and witness that he should bring to his generation will not be there. So many times, God will insist that you go through the class of self-denial. And when you go through the class of self-denial, he won't stop. He will still allow you to go through the class of warfare. Why the class of self-denial is a class of sacrifice, the class of warfare is where your faith is proven. God wants to know what you really trust in. So warfare doesn't necessarily need to invite you. If you are there, you are part of it. And so God will allow you to go through the class of warfare so that the testimony of your faith can be proven. You will show that it is God you trust, not your connection with man. Because some warfare will come and disconnect you with everybody that you ever trusted. It is on the strength of that warfare that you go back to your altar and say, God, you are my Ebenezer. You may not know the meaning of Ebenezer. Even when you read it in the Bible, you will quote it and use it to sing a song. It is the day when every help departs from you that you will find out, what does Ebenezer need? It is warfare that brings you that intrinsic and experiential training. No man can win territories in this kingdom unless he fights. Because when you say thy kingdom come, you declared war. When you say thy kingdom come, you invited princes to your territory. You want to uproot what was and you want to establish what should come. You cannot do it just by talking. You will now realize that destiny is not a story. Destiny is not fun. Destiny is battle. And when a man goes through the class of warfare, that man has come to the level where God can begin to entrust him.